Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Boy, am I excited about this episode today. Before I introduce you to our guest, here's a quote just for this episode. It is not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Mark Twain, our guest today, is a good friend of me, your host, the Culture Matters podcast, a supporter of the Culture Matters podcast and Culture Matters for a long, long time, even before Culture Matters looked and feels the way it does today. I met our guest so many years ago, actually maybe almost over a decade it's got to be, and I consider them a great friend. They've been a supporter of the show, actually brought us so many great guests and continue to do so. So if you're a listener of the show, you have a lot to be grateful for, them living their values, them living their competencies. They're actually the customer experience and project consultant at Fedale, which is an unbelievable family culture, family business, been around over 20 years. I've had some of uh, uh, the CEO on the show and some of the family members, along with the progenitor of the entire family, Mr. Glenn Sr. on the show, all because of my dear friend who's a guest today, Chris Shelley, who is not just a supporter of the show, but with great guests, but a listener of the show, has always given me helpful feedback to make the show better. Thanks for coming on the show. If I say the show one more time, I'm gonna penalize
Thanks for having
myself.
me on.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this. Long time coming.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
truly do mean, like, I appreciate your support over the years. And if we have any listeners at all, I know that it's we have at least one.
That's right. I believe in the whole thing, man. From the very start of hearing everything to getting you where you come from to where you're at and where you're going.
Thank you, my friend. I do have a question. I want to dive right into customer experience and ways that you would advise our listeners to show up with customers to start creating a positive customer experience. Because I don't think it's a conversation that we have enough on the show, ironically enough.
Um, Really, it's about being genuine and actually gratitude, being grateful to even have that opportunity. I mean, they could have gone with anybody else. They chose you, you know. So just be grateful to even be there, first of all, and have the opportunity to sit down with them, or whether you're on the phone, they actually answered for you and stayed on the line. Whatever process you're going through, be grateful that you have the opportunity and absolutely be genuine. People can smell the false, fake stuff from a mile away, and you don't want to be involved with that. It's just that simple. And a lot of people do try to go the other route and just say what has to be said to get what has to be gotten done. And that's just, some people are successful at it. And, let's not lie, it works somehow. But I just don't believe in that.
Hmm.
And I found more success doing it the right way as far as I consider to be the right way.
Was that something that you learned from mentorship, or did it
Yes,
come naturally to you?
it was kind of a natural thing at first. And then people that were mentoring me over the years were kind of like, hey, man, do you not see what we were talking about? And just kind of referred to interactions that they knew I had. And they were like, you were being genuine here. Here you were just after whatever, the sale or such and such. And do you see that you've had more failure here versus more success when you're being genuine? And they align that all for me to see. And it's like, man, you guys are right. I guess I was on the right path and I got to stop dipping my toe in that other pond there.
What have been some of the results from you going the extra mile, as because it didn't you get like a tremendous amount of customer reviews or something?
So, yeah, I've gotten a ton of customer reviews, I guess over like 100 on Google in like a year or so, and a little
Wow.
over 50 in like a year on the Better Business Bureau page that we have. But before that even matters, it's the sustained relationship with these people, because it's like whether we're going to have a lifetime client or they're just a lifetime friend and a friendship develops out of this, either way, you're winning, because I mean, they might not need anything, but okay, we sell roofing, siding, exterior, right? So say I sell them a roof and that's all they needed because every other project's done, yet we remain friends and we remain in contact. And there's other opportunities there for business or friendship or just come hang out and you can make life better because you're a positive person.
Hmm. Would you ever have apprehension or fear of asking for that review?
No,
Why not?
absolutely not. I mean, you're going to ask and you're either going to get told yes or you're going to get told no. And it's just literally, it is what it is. Just ask. If you've done your job right, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, okay, even if you messed up somewhere along the way. And I'll tell them specifically, hey, we know we encountered some errors here and we did recover. I'd appreciate it if you'd actually mention that in your review because a true customer review
Hmm.
isn't just, oh, they did a great job, 5 stars. I'd rather hear like, hey, everything started off great. We ran into a few issues. The crew and Chris fixed this, this, and this. Man, the way they recovered is great. They were open, honest, and they took care of the issue. And man, this was an awesome experience. Here's a 5 star review.
Oh, so
And
you'll actually mention or ask to be for them to bring up the whole truth, nothing but it.
yeah, why not? I mean, that's just transparency. And it's better for, because obviously your customer reviews, that's what people will essentially search to kind of decide, okay, should I engage them for an appointment? If we're fully transparent, like things happen, you screw up. It's life, and in construction, it happens more often than not, but it's how you recover. I mean, there's been people that screw up in life. I'm one of them. I've recovered and made things a lot better in the past 10 years. I've screwed up in construction. I've screwed up in business. But how do you recover? Did you fix this thing and just do it? Or were you that guy that messed something up and then try to blame it on the customer and pre-existing conditions? And sometimes you may be able and have to go that route because some things on the home just it is what it is. The home was built in the 50s. It cannot have this certain type of, let's say, cladding installed onto it, and you have to do this, this, and this. And we were in the process of doing this, this, and this, and we broke something because of that. Well, just fix it. Who cares? What are you spending $100 to keep a happy customer and you know a
Hmm.
sustained relationship, client forever or friendship forever? That's just I don't know. Transparency has seemed to always work.
Does it ever or has it ever felt like too much time has passed to ask for the review?
You do typically want to try to approach that quickly. So I kind of bring it up as the job is starting in the project management role. And hey, we're going to get things rolling. Maybe, once things are done, we could go over maybe leaving a customer review if you're happy or not. And I don't care if they give me a bad review. I mean, I've only had two, but I mean, that's again transparency. But to ask for it, yes, you want to try to get that mentioned beforehand and then actually get into what it's about and what it does for you, obviously, personally, and the customer, because it helps the customer too. I mean, it lets people know that, okay, I bought this from this company. I'm trusting of this company. I am honest because I'm giving you an honest review. Lets them know about the company. Okay, they appreciate an honest review, whether good, bad, or whatever, because we do answer to every single one.
Hmm.
But get it done as soon as you can.
Hmm.
If you let it linger, I've had times where I'll ask, yeah, I'll do it. Send me the link. And then you send it through text. And then I'll text them at the end of the week. Hey, did you get a chance? Oh, no, I'll get around to it. And then by the end of the next week, I'll send an email with the same link. Now, if they don't answer again, I'll typically wait until we're running one of the internal, we have like 2 or 3 different seasonal internal competitions for them. So I'll wait until they come up and just kind of send an email blast out to everybody. Hey, we were talking about a customer review at the time of your project. would you mind leaving us one now? I know it's been a while, but I'm currently in the running during this internal competition and I'd be really grateful if you could help me out. Most of the time they answer. And it's just people have lives and lives just anything happens, so you forget. It is what it is, you know.
What advice do you have for our listeners on how to build a more meaningful relationship with a customer?
Just engage them, listen to them. Don't just listen to spout out whatever. Listen to learn about them and learn what they're actually trying to say. And they may at times tell it to you directly, but most of the time it's the unsaid. And they will beat around the bush, sort of, because whether it's nervousness or they just don't know how to approach it, I don't know. That's, person to person. But it's more like listening to what's unsaid to really actually understand it.
Hmm. That little sign next to you, it says, "Where it all started, big things have small beginnings."
Oh yeah, the Google, Amazon, and I forget what the third one is. Google, Amazon, and maybe Microsoft. I'm not sure. All three garage startups.
When, if we look back, um, you were, a little kid, were you thinking, I'm gonna be a customer experience project consultant? Gmail is growing, very successful family business.
Honestly, absolutely not. I thought I was going to be an airborne Army Ranger.
Really?
hmm I had a couple of neighbors growing up that were in the military and hanging out with their sons and everything, and you get to see all the cool awards and dad's coming home and full dress uniform. And then he's like, "Hey, I suggest you get into this program because it instills discipline." It was I believe it was Civil Air Patrol, and that was through the Air Force. And then, they'll let you go and do that. And then they suggested, "Hey, you're going into high school, if you do want to have that opportunity, why don't you go into JROTC?" And it was really attractive at the time. They held you accountable, very disciplined, and it kept you in shape. Kept you in great shape if you're getting in trouble too.
And did you end up going into this?
No, I did not. So I kind of, at the end of my high school career, I guess you would call it, I just kind of had a whole thing of like, I just want to make money. Let's go make money. How do we do that as fast as possible and make as much as possible? And I guess kind of 2000, that was in 99 when I graduated. So in like 2000, 2001, before the whole 9/11 thing, a couple of guys signed up that I knew. And then 9/11 hit, and it was like, oh man, do I really want to go to war? And I just chose not to. And whether that's seen as weak, selfish, whatever, that was my choice. And I definitely give major, major respect to those who did sign that dotted line. I mean, maybe I was afraid, maybe I just didn't want to because I was interested in pursuing money, whatever it was probably a combination of both, honestly. But I just chose not to go. And those that did, I mean, I'm grateful for them for doing it. And man, I couldn't have any more respect for people that I don't know than these folks.
What was the first job that you ever had?
Oh boy. Uh, I worked at a family run hardware store. And boy, I didn't know a thing about anything. I just knew to greet people, act like I knew what I was doing, and if something came up that I couldn't find, go get one of the senior guys.
How old are you?
14, pretty young.
Did you want to make money at that point?
Yeah, I did, but at that time it was also a like, hey boy, you better go get a job if you want to be spending this kind of money. And parents don't want to be buying you everything the whole time when you're capable of going to work and learning responsibility and learning what the dollar is capable of attaining and learning all these other various things. So it was just more of a like, okay, dad, mom, yes, I do need to get a job. I do want to buy these things. I do want to make the money to afford it on my own. I do want to kind of, I guess, please them too.
Did you move out young or late?
Uh, I moved out late. Um, Stuck around for a long time because of a raise that my father had where he was working, afforded a much bigger house and in a much better area. And I guess I just kind of was immature at the time. Didn't really mind living there, although I should have moved on by then. I moved out, man. First time I moved out, I was probably 30 or 32.
What's your advice to some of our listeners that are, they can resonate with that? They're late 20s at home, they have enough comfort to not move, but
Comfortability can be a good thing, but most times it's a bad thing if you're trying to succeed. So you're never really going to know how you're going to be able to afford life until you move out. And you're either going to fail or you're going to succeed, and you do not want to fail. And you can't put that pressure on your parents to just keep on raising daddy and mommy's little boy at 30 some years old. Like, sure, they're there to support you and help you. And if they're there and everything's well, and you should definitely be chipping into the bills, stay until you're on your feet and then get out. But, after college, and I didn't go, but after college, maybe a couple years, get yourself started in your career. It's time to start looking, man. I mean, get out, get on your feet, and start developing yourself fully. And it took me a while, and I didn't develop myself fully until I had to move out and was like, oh, this is real life here. I'm responsible for everything. There's no call mommy and daddy. There's no call uncle this and uncle that. Like, Chris, you have to take care of it. Doesn't matter what comes up. Take care of it. Maybe you'll have good friends that will help you out, but take care of it. And the only way
Mhm.
you're going to do that is the uncomfortability of I got to leave mom and dad's nest and fly on my own.
Yeah, the studies are saying that people are staying longer and at home, and young men especially aren't leaving the nest. They lack purpose and meaning. What do you say to all that?
I do see it a lot, actually. Find some purpose, get some meaning, get out there. You have to find a way to positively impact people, and you can do it. Put your mind to it, you can do it. But you have to get out there and out of your parents' house because you're just going to be stuck there with the whole comfortability of everything's taken care of. I just have to do the minimal. And you can't put that pressure on your parents, man. It's just for millennia, it's been you're born, family raises you, you move on. Okay, if you're going to take a little extra time, cool, but make sure you're using that time wisely. You're respecting your parents, you're respecting their home, you're chipping in on the bills. Don't just be a bum living off of them. At least try to get these things happening so that when you do make that step, you've already had the experience of, hey, mom, I've been paying you such and such a month. Now you know you can afford this bill. Okay. Hey, I've been respecting their house as an adult living with other adults. I know how to respect the home that I buy or rent. And it's just those type of things like get your feet under yourself and get out. It's not so good to wait so long, but nowadays with the way employment is, they want all kinds of experience and they want a degree, or you're just gonna have to go into sales, man, or something, because that's just, I guess, the way of the world now. But to do it, if you gotta stay a couple years past college, cool, but don't stay there forever. I mean, at 30, that was way too long for me.
Were you depressed?
For a couple of years there, yeah. And then I found purpose again, and it motivated me. And outside things can motivate you, but when you find that motivation, you better start getting very disciplined. And that's the thing that's going to carry you through is your own self-discipline. And, motivation's going to come and go. And that's just how it is, and you may feel yourself slacking off. Okay, write this down that, okay, this is what and why I'm slacking off on. All right, maybe I should go to the gym because I haven't been in 2, 3 weeks. Boom, now you've just boosted your energy. Now you've done something that you've liked and you haven't done in a while. Then you're going to start looking back at this whole thing of like, why am I even depressed, man? I just was slacking off. Let me get it together. Boom, you're right back at it. You're back in the game. But staying around too long, you're going to start looking at yourself. Man, I'm in these four walls of this bedroom because that's typically what it is. You're stuck in the bedroom of your parents' house. And yeah, that's depressing, man. You want to be able to come home to your own house and do your own thing and not worry about your parents and not have them worrying about you as much. And of course, their parents are always going to worry about you, but it's a less worry. They're happy to see that, oh, my kid has finally succeeded and taken these steps into mature adulthood.
Hmm.
And that will obviously, or should at least, help you be happy.
What relationship do you think your peer group had at the time with holding you back?
My peer group holding me back at that time, oh, it was pretty heavy. Um, I was hanging around the wrong crowd. I should have just, and many of times I knew I was and recognized that I should depart from this. But with what we were all doing, the money was holding me tight to that. Huge mistake.
How do you describe your transformation from like where you've come to where you are today? Because, the circles that you're a part of, the company that you work with, the value that you're creating for so many people, it seems like a night and day.
So where I came from, it's not like I came from like a super poor area, poor neighborhood, all that. We had whatever we needed. We had most of what we wanted. Again, I just got involved with the wrong people and doing the wrong things and learning, even though I was doing the wrong things, the business transactions that I was making that made me successful in that world were because I listened to people and I cared and I didn't want them to be in a situation where they were put at risk. And that made them choose me over the other competitor. And eventually I was just like, what in the heck am I doing this on this side of things for when I can do it on the other side and be, number one, much more successful, happier, out of trouble, and the potential for it. And then I'm just helping a lot more just the general public. I mean, if you're just doing the right thing as a human being, you're setting the example for all those around you and those that don't even know you, as long as they see you walking, holding your head high, random interactions, holding the door for somebody, saying hello with a smile, little simple stuff like that that I wasn't doing when I was in that other world. And then I started to kind of develop and see that like this is the way. No wonder why these people are coming to me instead of the other person. Let's do this the right way. And once I started getting on the right track with the right people, I just started making the right moves, the right connections, establishing relationships with better people, not always being the smartest guy in the room, willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to admit I'm stupid at some things, and that's just not my path. And there's somebody else that knows better than me, and I'll learn what I can, but I'm going to leave that up to them to do the professional things for it.
Hmm.
And that has brought me to where I'm at.
Almost everybody I've met in the roofing space is like almost had like a second life. Is that just part of the culture?
Kind of. I would
Like
say so. A lot
that's
of
just
us,
anecdotal experience. Like almost everybody I've met in and around roofing
yeah,
have
we
like their
we come from
second life
usually
or
a
their
rough
second
bunch.
chance or something.
Yeah, most of most people in construction in general, but roofing, as it's a harder trade, you get your harder guys. I mean, you're up there on a roof, that's dangerous as can be, and a lot of the times they're drinkers and druggers. And some of us will get it together and get it right. Many of us won't. And it's just a matter of like have you recognized that you have this issue? Whether you think it's as medically it's considered a disease now, or do you think it's just some issue that you can grow out of, whatever? Have you recognized that you have it? And then what are you going to do about it?
One of the early supporters of 30 Days of Thought, Ben Menchaca. I was speaking at Lee Hates um, Sky Diamond. It was like the second event they ever had, maybe 2019. And Ben was in the audience and we connected, and he was an early supporter of 30 Days of Thought, and like went through the book and read the read the excerpts, put videos, sent me some videos. And I think it was 2 years ago, and he passed away from alcoholism.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Ben Menchaca, um, really loved in the roofing space, in the restoration. Like he had YouTube videos, and he was really getting accepted. He was an older guy. He was really starting to get accepted. He had a lot of gifts, speaking gifts and leadership
Many
gifts,
of us do. Many of us do.
and he
And
passed away.
that's a shame. That's a dang shame. There's a lot of good people, man. I found it's not really a lack of morals. It's just getting involved with either the wrong people or a prescription that the doctor really just didn't care and kept overfeeding you, or you didn't even need it. And then you got hooked on that. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we can't prescribe this anymore. And then what did you have left because your mind was already stuck on these things? Or you're an alcoholic and you party too much and you just never got rid of that party mindset. And it's not that you're a bad person morally, you just enjoyed partying and you took it too far. And the guys that left at 11 o'clock, you're calling them nerds and you're staying until 4 o'clock, and they're like, what in the hell are you doing, man? You got so much more to offer. And it takes a while for some people to figure it out, and people will, and then they'll go back. People sometimes won't, and they just stay that way until they're in. And it's unfortunate. I lost my brother to addiction. It's just a very unfortunate thing, and it happens. It's real life. It's just part of things are, and it's been exacerbated in the past 20 years and only getting worse, to be honest. And it's just, you got to find that one thing that one day, like I think I did, and was just like, I am tired of this. I need to get it together. And I mean, you got to be honest with yourself. In those positions, when you're like that, you're not your best self. You're just being a loser. And you don't want to be a loser. Nobody wants to be a loser, and you just got to recognize it. And okay, I'm being a loser for this period of time. This isn't something that's going to be the rest of my life. For this period of time, I've been a loser. It's time to change. And then find something greater than yourself to hold on to and hold hope in, and then learn and get a better network of people. Surround yourself with the right people. Do what you got to do. Put it down. Leave it alone. You don't need to touch it again. You've already tried it. How many times? And you failed. Fail forward this time, not backwards. And I've been fortunate enough to fail forward.
What year did you lose your brother?
Um, I think 2019 it was.
Ah,
Yeah, 2018 or 2019.
just how?
Um, so we were both heavily addicted to painkillers and heroin, and we both had went to rehab. I got clean in 2016, July 16th, 2016. He got clean September of that year. And I guess it was 2 years, 1 or 2 years. So it might have been 2017. 1 or 2 years later, he did a little too much during a relapse. And when I found him, that was it.
Sorry. there are people close to me that I think you need to talk to offline that are going through that. What do you say to somebody that's listened to us that is in that predicament now where they have a sibling that's still with them and they're not sure what to do, like how to move forward?
It's very, very hard to make people change. You can only put the suggestions out there, especially for an addict. Um, Always try to encourage them. Always try to encourage them. Don't beat them up too much about like, oh, you're a loser and you're just doing this and you're making things hard on me. You're making things hard on yourself. You're making things hard on our parents. Don't drag them down further than they are. Yes, recognize the problem. Hey, brother, you got this going on. You know, I know. Like, what are your plans, man? Like, what are you going to do with yourself? You do see how many people are losing their lives, right? Like, is there somebody that I can talk to that can get set up with you and you guys talk? Do you think rehab's the best way? Like, what do you think would work best for you? And put other suggestions out there too, even though you're questioning them and trying to get their feedback. Just throw the suggestions out to them because they're either going to listen to them or not. It depends. It's all up to you as the addict. Are you ready or are you not? And at the end of the day, you're going to be responsible for making that choice as the addict yourself. And you're going to just take the accumulation of all the suggestions that you have and look at them all, view it as like, okay, there's this route, and this route to get clean. This is the easiest. This might take a little more work. This is going to be really hard, but it's going to be very beneficial.
Mm.
And eventually you're going to say, well, the hell with it. I'm tired of this. I'm going the very hard route. Life's already been hard. Choose your hard, you know? I think your buddy Brad said something like that. Choose your hard, you know?
Mm.
And just, you got to do it.
What are some things that, because you've been working with Chief Fidel for years now, that you think the culture does to help lift people up, that maybe it's a second life career for them?
Um, Flexibility, understanding, um, peer mentorship kind of helps. And they didn't really have it so much, as far as I know, when I first started. But I made it very clear right away, like, hey, man, I know I only have 4 years sober, but if we have any employee that runs into this situation, friend, family member of yours, or an employee, call me. I have all types of resources for this. I've been through it. And they were so accepting of it. And, I've helped a couple of guys and they've been doing really well. And I've helped a guy that he did relapse. He went out for, I guess, about 2 years and he's doing well again. And he just contacted me. Hey, I screwed up. Excuse me. I screwed up. Obviously, that's why I was let go. I just wanted to let you know. I appreciate you talking to me. And today is my 6 months clean. And I'm like, man, that's awesome to hear. And it was all facilitated by just the openness and the willing to be helpful of the situation with, hey, man, as long as you're upfront and honest with us. And if we see any of this, we'll put people in contact with you and then you go ahead and make suggestions to us. And it wasn't just management, it was ownership. And it's
Mm.
like when your ownership is willing to work with you and help you out, I mean, you're in a pretty good spot.
Why is that important?
You want to have ownership understand who you are and your employees. So like obviously the CEOs out there, trying to move the business forward, trying to adhere to the vision or grow it. They're busy a lot of the time. But if you don't know your employees, man, you're going to have a hard go of it. And here, I mean, our CEO's office is open 95% of the time. He closes that door when he's on only important meetings. He'll be on the phone in a meeting and leave the door open just in case you need him. And he'll go whatever he's doing. He'll throughout the day stop down and, hey, what's up, guys? Da, 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 engage in conversations just to talk. And sometimes you're like, hey, man, like we've been talking 20 minutes. Don't you have something to do? Because I'm busy, But they're the type of people you want in leadership because they actually care. They're going to come down and talk to you, and they're going to go out to the job and talk to you. They're going to go see how things are actually running on the ground. They're not just going to sit up in the C-suite and, oh man, well, I expect this, this, and this, and it better get done or else. Like, of course that has to happen, but they know how to balance. And if your CEO, your leadership can make those balances, man, you're in a good spot.
How did you hear about G Fidel?
Um, so I always hung out with the older guys, and it's a local company. And I kind of watched Glenn, me being a young guy, seeing the old guys doing things. And I saw him start. I saw him grow from like himself and one friend and a pickup truck. Then he bought a house with his wife, and it was like him, a pickup truck, and his friend, and then two more friends, and then three more friends. Then he bought a small little storefront office, and then he had like a whole bunch of employees out of nowhere. And then when I came on, I found that they were hiring from stickers on their truck, and I'd always wanted to engage them to see if I could work there. But most of that time while Glenn was growing it, I was in my other lifestyle, and I actually got my experience there because I did have to have a job to support it. So learning those things kind of helped prepare me to come here in a way. And I just kind of was like, all right, I'm doing the right things for myself personally now. This company, I've actually watched the founder grow it and be successful. And I know what he used to do as a young man. And it's like, if he can do it, I
Hmm.
can do it. And I gave a call, and here I am on board for 3 years now. And I mean, most people at any company, I don't know if they're getting four raises in a year and two promotions, but if you're doing the right thing, you can do that. I just did it.
Um, wow. Yeah. What do you have how important has vision been in your transformation?
My vision, extremely. It was limited for a little while there. I put those limitations on it because it was grand before the change in lifestyle. Put the blinders on when I got clean and went back to the not such a grand vision, but kind of like brought things into real life perspective and made a vision out of that of where I can go and what I can be. And then put the I guess the stretch vision on too, the always just in case type of thing.
What role did listening to audiobooks, reading, podcasts, personal growth have in your now
All of
success?
that was very, 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 very influential in my success. Um, because you got to hear the success stories, but the success stories you want to hear, you don't want to just hear about this success after this success after this success. I want to hear it from like, hey man, I screwed up, but this is where I pivoted, and here's my success, and here's how I did it. And those are the people that I sought out. And those people reading their books, listening to their podcasts, meeting some of them and talking to them, it's it's just like night and day, man, how like you go from you have this much knowledge in your palm to a mountain in front of you that's all yours now because you took the time to, hey, I don't know everything, man. I have to learn. This is pertinent information here to be successful, to live a good life, outside of financial, stability and all that. Like you need to have these things. And that was one of the things I learned real quick. Hey, man, you got to hear it from the people that have done it. So get to it. And it's been incredibly influential and helped me grow and helped me get to where I am.
How did you time block self-development with trying to, provide for your family and just pay the
Um,
bills?
you either wake up early and read or listen to your podcast. So for me, podcast and audiobook, excuse me, since well, I'm coming from project management, put it on while you're in the truck. Put it on your way to work. Get up an hour earlier. Just do your cardio in the morning and listen. Go do your weightlifting at night. And when you get done, spend a half an hour reading. It's easy. Block it out somehow. Otherwise, you're making excuses. I mean, I've made excuses the past 2 years about my fitness. And just now, it's like time block it. Hey, instead of waking up at 6, let's wake up at 4:30, get our stuff together so we can go to the gym from 5 to 6. And now we're back to the regular routine. And it's, you're just making excuses. I mean, I just had a little baby in September. I should be completely packed on my schedule, but I still find time because if I don't have my best self, that little boy is not going to be able to be raised to become his best self.
Mm.
So just get it done.
Yeah, having a son now, you feel another level of energy and motivation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have somebody counting on you for everything, literally for everything, especially right now. And just to know you're going to be the biggest influence that they can have and they're going to follow in your footsteps. They carry your name. That's that's huge. And it gives you this like full burst and this realignment and this it's wild. It's crazy. I haven't even figured it all out. It's so exciting. It's so like it's wild. It's so cool.
You'd recommend it.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I think it's cool because I've had Glenn Sr. on the show, thanks to you, and now one of his sons started G Fidel, and then another one is a CEO, another one is financial executive, and now here you are, made those introductions, and now you have a son. Who knows what your son will accomplish and what could come from that?
Legacy
It's
is
like
yet
all
to be
one.
determined, but it's going to be there.
Yeah, if there's one word that you could share for 2025 for audience, like if you had a word, what would it be?
Gratitude. Absolutely. Gratitude.
Chris, thanks for finally coming on the show. It's taken feel like 10 years to get you on here.
Absolutely. Not
Grateful
a
for the
problem.
opportunity. Thanks
Thank
for
you for
all you
having
do behind the scenes for the Culture Matters podcast. Where is one place people could follow you?
I am on Instagram, but I am kind of redoing my account now that I've had the promotion. And honestly, I don't have that quite set up, but you could always give me a call if you're looking for any kind of roofing exterior needs, 302-304-0193. And then maybe we get another episode in here sometime and I'll have all that other stuff set up.
Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Culture Matters podcast. Please leave us a review, and we will see you next time on the Culture Matters podcast. Thanks, my friend.